Welcome to yet again another conversation here at AfriRise. And AfriRise is your go-to channel on matters politics and governance in the country of Kenya and on the African continent. And today we have a very interesting video for you. But right before we get into that conversation, kindly take a moment and subscribe to our channel because it helps us to create more videos for you, as well as create and get more insight. Give us your feedback because it is very important in getting our future videos to be more detailed and considerate of your views. And today we have a conversation about, is Rigathi Gachagua the best man to beat William Ruto? And in this regard, we are going to look at three very important factors that answer this question. And one of the biggest questions that many people ask, is he capable of beating William Ruto? And my straight answer to that question will be yes, he's very capable. And the very important benefit that he has over William Ruto is that he has a voting bloc that he controls. And we have over the years overlooked the capabilities of Raila Odinga just because he has never won or he has never been declared the presidential elect or the president elect in any of the elections. But Raila Odinga came onto the scene or onto the competition with a voting bloc that actually did not come from a very vote-rich region. His voting patterns or his voting regions, strongholds, are spread all over the country. But here comes a man whose voting bloc is very vote-rich and centered on one region. And what this gives him is that bloc vote. It inspires the voter from that region to actually have to vote for him, to actually have to vote for his party, to actually have to vote for his grassroots leaders. And this is a very strong factor leading to any election. And again, having worked with William Ruto, having supported him, you deduct from his collective vote from the last election and you add that yours. That is not just a plus on his side, it also diminishes the voting of William Ruto. And if you understand this, the matrix actually gets solved just by dint of having subtracted from one person and added to the other person. And this is what actually gives Rigathi Gachagua the best card to fight William Ruto. And you look again on his coalition and the partners he's with, he's the person with the most vote-rich region. And again, he controls it by himself. It is not a partnership between him or any other person. It's him by himself who controls that vote-rich region. And this puts him in a very advantageous position ahead of the election. This week we've seen him declare that he thinks he's the best to go against William Ruto. And I don't fault him for that. He should feel it. And coming to the table, when you come to the table with people who make you feel insecure, like we saw last week him disguise the position of the Abagusi community and the other leaders from that region on the candidature of Fred Matiang'i in the next election. And he is right to actually be insecure on Matiang'i or any other candidate for that matter. And I think what he's trying to tell us is, you guys have to consolidate. You have to come with something. And here is mine. And when you come to negotiate, we're going to apply a formula that favors the person who controls the biggest chunk of votes. And this is actually what he's doing. And many people may argue, doesn't this give an advantage to William Ruto in case he wants to split the opposition? And again, I know many people from the mountain region, many people from the Agikuyu, Embu, Ameru, and the Akamba communities will vote for any candidate who is fronted, regardless of whether they are from their tribe or not. And the people from central Kenya will not have a problem voting for Matiang'i. They will not have a problem voting for Kalonzo Musyoka. But are these leaders selfless to the extent that they will support Rigathi Gachagua and come behind him to form the next government? This is a question that will be answered leading to the election. The second card that I think gives Rigathi Gachagua a position of advantage is that the government underrates him. We could see it as propaganda, we could see it as just telling him off, but these people really underrate him. They impeached him on an underration that he will not be popular in any region. They even said in his own word after 2 weeks. And here we are, nearly a year later, we still, everybody in the country, it's 8 months, everybody, every region is actually talking about him. And usually, we know that when you go to any competition, as an underdog, you are at an advantageous position because your tact gives you an advantage over the other person. They actually do not recognize your capabilities, and this makes you advantaged. Just by dint of the government looking down at Rigathi Gachagua and saying, this man cannot beat us, this man is a tribalist, this man, we impeached him, this man does not control anything, this man does not have members of parliament. But it doesn't work like that. When you see them kind of tell of anything that he says, they're actually giving him a lot of significance. They're actually giving him a lot of followers from all over the country. And this underration is what is going to actually make the government and those in the Kenya Kwanza administration campaign for him without knowing. Because again, this leads me to the third factor that I think gives him an advantage against any other person that he is with in the opposition. And this card is very important. It played a very big role in 2022. I believe it will play a significant role in 2027. And this is the sympathy card. I know many Kenyans will disagree with me on this one, because in 2022, many people will say that the politics that time we evolved from being tribal, we evolved from being regional to issues. But here comes the very common and one thing that never changes in any election or in any political space: the sympathy card. There are many people who do not think that Rigathi Gachagua is a good leader. There are many people who look at him as someone who just fights for his region, someone who is tribal for that matter. And in the same camp, across the board, from every region, from every county, from every community, there are people who look at Gachagua with sympathy and see that this guy was voted to be deputy president of the country. He was, shortly after being voted, around 2 years in office, hauled out of office by his boss, who he was elected with. Why will they be this merciless to them? And this is especially amongst our ladies, the women of this country. I'm not saying that they do not consider any other factor in their voting, but they are quick to sympathize with someone. They are quick. I was going through the comments in that video on Obina TV that Rigathi Gachagua had over the weekend, and I was looking at the comments, and very many comments. I will say I saw over 30 comments from women saying that, wow, he's a very loving guy, he's a good husband, he's a good father, he's romantic. You see, these kind of things make people sympathize with someone. They make people overlook every other factor, overlook the tribe, overlook the demeanor, overlook the qualities in a leader, and just vote him on the sympathy card. And it might not be much, but it's a very critical voting block, the sympathy block. And again, when you look at the quality of the leaders in the opposition and the control people say the grip that they have on their voting bloc in terms of having leaders and having actual grassroots people. It's only Rigathi Gachagua who comes with that command. Many people might dismiss him for having just a new party that is small but growing. And you look at the rate that it's growing at, it shows you that he is someone destined to actually convince, or I will say showcase himself as the best amongst his colleagues in the opposition. I'd like to know what you think. I know these are just my opinions. You might like to critique me, you might like to support me, and this actually makes the conversation grow stronger and more beautiful. And up to this point, I'd like to thank you for staying with me throughout this conversation and ask you to give me your feedback so that we grow this conversation. Again, before I go, kindly take just 1 second, click on that subscribe button, share that video to as many of your friends as you can, and I'll really appreciate. Enjoy the rest of your day, and peace until next time.